identifying that we all live with shame. And we often feed the shame by not disclosing and or sharing what we've gone through. We're going to go a little off script today. It's not going to be an update around the show. It's rather an update on a book I recently read. It was this book by Myra Brooks. It's called The Revelation of Dionne Daphne, and it's by Myra Brooks Akil. She came here and she did a talk with Candy Burris. I am really a fan of hers when it comes to her previous work around Girlfriends. Girlfriends is my comfort show. She also did Being Mary Jane, and more recently she's on Netflix for Forever. I was super excited. I had actually just come off of a high. I had read Kennedy Ryan's Score, which I loved. By far, I am of the opinion that that was Kennedy Ryan's best literary work to date. The story is about a woman who is thriving in her career, up for promotion, but she has recently gotten out of a 5-year relationship and had a evening out and decided to have a one-night stand. And the night that she has the one-night stand, her ex-lover comes to her door and discloses that he was HIV positive. And that journey from the day that she finds out and the emotional pull and kind of addressing her childhood trauma and all of the things leading up to the results for her appointment. Okay, so I'm challenged. When I first finished the book, I was annoyed. I'm such an immersive reader. My body doesn't know the difference between when I'm reading and consuming and when things are actually happening. And the level of detail that she put in this book around her assault. So she does disclose that she was molested from about ages, I think she said 9 to 12 or 9 to 15 or something around that age. But she's really detailed around what that felt like, where she was, like the whole scenery. I was basically taken back because I don't want those visuals, right? It's not a part of my experience. And I don't necessarily want to be in that place of, sadly, what she experienced. Like, I'm one of those people where I don't need to go through something to empathize with your story. It is your story. And so just knowing, right, at a high level is enough for me. And so it did go into a lot of detail around her sexual assault and some of the things that she was challenged with, as far as, you know, when she went back and told her mom and what that looked, or her parents rather, and what that looked like. And so all of the things. Aspect that I think was challenging. So I actually went back and watched Oprah Winfrey's episode with Myra Brooks. And that was really good and provided some visibility. Oprah called me. Thought it was really good because it highlighted really what her overall theme of the book was. And it wasn't so much about focusing on the traumatic experience that she experienced. It was more so. And so after hearing that perspective, it did help to say, what do you consider a good book? A good book is when it is a page turner, which it was. I was up at 4 a.m. trying to finish this book. I literally finished this book in maybe 48 to 72 hours because it was truly a page turner. She is literally a storyteller. Like, I loved every aspect of her storytelling. I just wish it was a lighter topic. Okay. Furthermore, the thing that I loved about the book is her character development. It was very plain, like it was very plain language, and so you felt the emotions of the characters. I love that. Again, the storytelling was just impeccable. It was definitely a page turner, and it made you question, like, for me at least, what about this book was a trigger, right? Was there an aspect of my own story that, because she's calling out this overarching theme of shame, that, like, I need to address because I was triggered? I talked about this book on my social media. I also went and did the exercise that she did. So one task with, rather, is going back and writing out all of her previous partners that she had been with. I did the exercise, not because I am as experienced as this woman, but I did just think, like, again, I am an immersive reader, and so I put myself in the mindset of the characters. And so going through that exercise, coupled with, I went and got my annual testing done, like a bit extreme, but I did all of those things because I just felt like, again, you should know. And she essentially, when I say she, Myra Brooks, definitely woke up an aspect of myself where I am questioning, like, what are some of those childhood things that even as an adult they're showing up. What am I carrying from my childhood or adolescence into adulthood? Going back to my show, one aspect that I did want to call out is this idea of perfectionism. I am going to go to therapy and examine, always aiming for something to be, almost perfect in a sense. And where does that come from? And what am I trying to prove when in reality I'm doing things well? So what is it in me that feels like, I have to take it up a level? That's not something I'm going to finish in this conversation. But I will have the conversation with my therapist because it just really took me through a loop. So I would just say, for those of you who are interested in a good read, I do consider this a good read. Would I necessarily recommend it? No, because I don't believe in just trauma dumping, and I definitely felt like she trauma dumped. Like, there could have been some trigger warnings on this book, and maybe that's the new school way of doing things, but I would have appreciated had I known what this book all entail, I likely wouldn't have read it. Definitely think it's like a 9.5 out of 10. As far as the writing, I keep giving you that I want to be very clear because I don't want anyone. It was just like that show on Netflix. I can't remember. It was like Love Is. I can't remember, but it was a really popular show on Netflix. And the partner had cancer, and the entire show was depressing. And people were crying and carrying on. And when I watched it, it was highly recommended. I think it was trending. It was like #1. And I watched it. And I was so annoyed after I watched it. I said, why did y'all make me watch this sad ass story? I feel the same way about this book. So again, take it as you wish, but this is my full review. I am now going to a much lighter read, a feel-good book. Sasha list of favorite things to do. Reading is definitely at the top of that list. And so, that's that.